Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 268 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. I'm Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and we have the full crew here this week, starting with the owner of MTG Goldfish, Richard. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Seth. How are you doing?
Doing well. Not leaving the house much, but I guess actually one thing I realized with all the social distancing stuff, I kind of just normally do that. I just like stay inside and play Magic all day. So I'm already like socially distanced for the most part. Krim, we also have another co-host. Krim, you are back. You made it into the country from Japan. I was a little nervous about that. Awesome to have you back.
Yeah, I was also pretty nervous about being stuck in a 5-hour line, all that stuff. But yeah, no, I managed to get back in and only waited like 2 minutes through customs. And yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time to be traveling. So it's good that you're back and ready to do some more podcasting. So this week, things are weird in Magic right now. Tournaments are not happening. Those have ground to the halt, which is actually one of the topics we're going to talk about. More tournaments being canceled. We had some product announcements, some pretty controversial, I guess, product announcements. In Secret Lair Ultimate Edition and Spellbook Chandra. Spoilers starting next week. So that's kind of the topic. Gonna jump around on this meta stuff. And then, of course, answer your fish mail as well. So that's the plan for today's cast. Before we jump into it, though, we got a sponsor today, and our sponsor is Card Conduit. And if you've ever struggled trying to sell your Magic cards with all the time and effort it takes to sort them and type them into buy lists and ship them to a bunch of places, they got you covered. They are the easiest way to sell Magic cards. If you're looking to avoid all those hassles, you can use this new service from the folks at Card Hoarder, and they will sort, grade, and sell your Magic cards. And once your shipment is processed, you'll receive the proceeds minus their fee. And right now you can get a 10% discount by going to cardconduit.com/goldfish. So thank you so much to Card Conduit for supporting the show. And let's talk some Magic, starting with, I guess, the big announcements of the week, with the big one being Secret Lair Ultimate. Richard, what products did Wizards roll out earlier this week?
All right. Secret Lair Ultimate Edition, 5 enemy fetchlands. So Marsh Flat, Scalding Tarn, Verdant Catacombs, Arid Mesa, Misty Rainforest. Now, this one is being sold through your local gaming store, so not online. It'll be available May 29th. Most stores will get 3 to 5, 10 on the higher end. So sold directly, and there's no price because there's no MSRP, but people are saying $150-ish for 5 enemy fetchlands for the new Secret Lair.
Yeah, so I think I watched the announcement video. They were pretty coy as far as prices. I think the exact thing they said is they expect it to sell for a bit more than Commander Anthology sold for, which was $165. So $150 would probably be good running if you can get one for that price. I'm kind of expecting best case $175 to $200. Worst case, who knows, that maybe they'll end up being really expensive. Jeez, I am actually surprised because Fetchlands are maybe the biggest reprint request the community has had. Like, this is something people have been asking for. And then the Secret Lair was announced, and people
were not
basically happy. Everyone freaked out. It was the most negative response you could imagine to something that people have been asking for. And I get, yes, it's not like having them in regular boosters. It's not going to like save prices or anything. Do you think that this hugely negative reaction to this product is deserved?
I understand it. It's pretty rough, right? Like, I mean, people want it, but like in an easily accessible way, not to where they have to pay $160, probably even more dollars than that. So I understand why people are upset with it.
Yeah. So without knowing anything about it, like how it's distributed, when I just look at the cards, it doesn't feel Secret Lair-ish, right? It's just like the normal frame, some beautiful art, but like just regular Magic land art. It's not like we had Year of the Rat, or stuff like that. This is just lands, and it's basically from the vault, right? Like, this is literally from the vault, where it's 5 cards, your LGS has like 5 of them, and they're going to charge like a lot, right? You're never going to get them at what quote unquote MSRP is. And unlike the normal Secret Lairs that are printed to unlimited quantity, this is like a super limited product. So this is not the reprint that you want to make cards cheaper, right? This is like some special foil edition. Are these even foil? These aren't foil, right?
They're not foil.
These are just like some special cards that cost a lot. and are hard to get. And I don't know if it's good or bad because we've been complaining about how like LGSs have been cut out of the process, right? And like Secret Lair is Magic, Wizards selling Magic directly to customers. But then they drop this for the LGS, which is supposed to help the LGS. But everyone's going to complain because you can't buy one and it's so limited. So people are going to be like, no, never release something via the LGS again. I need it direct from Wizards, printed to unlimited quantity. And like kind of just sway everyone back to the direct to consumer distributions. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about this because I know like people are just going to hate on the LGS for like marking up prices, hard to get. Can you even get it? Like, like 2 months out, even if you could get it, are you going to your local game store? Like, are you going to go on the street during social distancing? Like, it's just really awkward timing for all of this. So
I think the good news as far as social distancing is these don't actually come out until the end of May, I want to say. So maybe things will have improved 2 or 3 months in the future. So it was announced very far ahead.
I think of all the secret layers, I think this one should have just been online.
No, but they don't want you to print unlimited Fetchlands, right? But
you have a max, right? Like it's like maximum 10 purchases, right? I mean, like this is already cheaper than me buying 2 Scalding Tarns right now if it's like 160. But like at the same time, of all the things to have be in the LGSs, I think this one should have just been like how the other drops have been.
So I think my take is I don't actually have a problem with the product itself. I think branding it Secret Lair was probably a mistake. I think if this was called From the Vault Fetchlands or any non-Secret Lair thing, I think it would have went over better because I think people, because of how all the Secret Lair drops have worked so far, associate Secret Lair with, if I want it, I can get it for this price for a 24-hour period. Like, you don't have to worry about the secondary market changing prices, anything like that. So I feel like branding this as a Secret Lair was maybe the big mistake. What do you think about the price of it? Let's assume that the price they gave, let's say $175 to $200 in that range. Like that's kind of the suggested price. Of course, if it ends up being way jacked up and it's $400, that's a different story. Is that a bad deal for one copy each of Fetchlands? Because that's maybe the part that surprised me most. I get the criticism about the distribution model for this. Like, I think that's legitimate, but most of the complaints that I saw when I made a video about these, reading Reddit threads, wasn't, I'm afraid I won't be able to get this. It's, that's way too expensive. These should be $50. I want 5 Fetchlands for $50. Like, and, and that's way too much money. Is that criticism actually fair?
I think it is fair when you kind of like tie it into Secret Lair. So like something like where it's $100, sure. 5 Fetchlands, $100, I'll take that. Pushing 200, that's a bit much, right? Because I mean, we got the entire set of gods for 150. And that's way more than 5 cards.
Yeah.
But I mean, does the number of cards matter? Like, what if the Secret Lair was $1,000 for a Black Lotus? Like, you're getting a $10,000 card, but it's only one. Like, I tried to make this point on Twitter. I got a box of 200,000 commons that I can't even lift, clogging up my closet. If the number of cards is important to you, you give me the price of a Secret Lair, I will literally send you 10,000 cards. Like, if that's the determining factor, is just the absolute number of cards, I got you covered. Like, send me that Secret Lair money, I will send you 10,000 Magic the Gathering cards.
So Wizards keeps dancing on the secondary market. We all know what these things cost, right? So if you get them at anything less than what the 5 fetches cost today, it is a quote-unquote deal. Now, Wizards keep skirting around the issue, saying cards have no value. So if you want to use something like that, then yeah, number of cards is the correct metric, right? But they actually use like very strategic terms like, what is it, like, not wantability, like a real word, like desirability. Desirability of the card, right? But what people really want is this thing to be reprinted into a standard set, right? I want to buy my fetches at $10 each, right? And even then, that's expensive because, again, people don't like paying for mana. Like, it just feels bad, right? I want to pay for splashy angel mythics and things like that. Not, good mana bases, but nonetheless, $10 a fetch in standard is really good as opposed to $30 a Fetchland, like, of a premium product I don't care is premium. Like, just give me the ugliest playable, legal, tournament sanctioned version of Scalding Tarn, right? Like no art Scalding Tarn. Don't even pay the artist to like do
just
anything.
a white block.
It's just a white block that says Scalding Tarn, and I'll take it and I'll play it, right?
So, yeah, I don't know. I think my overall perception of all this is there is some legitimate criticism that I think Wizards should pay attention to. I think branding at Secret Lairs was bad. I do think the amount that local game stores are getting, I know Wizards said that there actually will be more supply out there of these compared to past Secret Lair drops. Like every local game store getting whatever, 10 or whatever is going to add up to more than other Secret Lairs. That doesn't help individual people though, especially when it's cards that you want a playset of. So I think people would probably be wanting like 4 copies of this. And if your game store is getting 10 at the most, like that's what 2.5 players can get a playset. That's a pretty limited amount. So I think that's very, very legitimate. The other thing though, they did also say a couple more things about this. One is they said that there was going to be another printing of Fetchlands this year that would be available in a product through local game stores, but would not be in a standard set. So we got this little nugget that more Fetchlands in one form or another is coming. Also, they're doing a meta drop or super drop of Secret Lairs, kind of like the first drop of Secret Lairs we got in December, where we had a whole week of them, this summer. And if you buy the full drop for like $150 or whatever, you're going to get a random Fetchland as a bonus, kind of like the War of the Spark Planeswalkers. Does any of that make this better in your opinion? Like, does the fact that we know there's going to be more Fetchlands in one form or another coming, and that you can get them as a bonus in small numbers with this other Secret Lair drop, does that solve any of the issues or not really?
I would still be questionable about it just because what does that mean that there's going to be more Fetchlands available, right? Like, what is it getting printed in? How am I acquiring these? So there's still a little bit of things like that you're left in the dark about.
It's weird because why would they say that to kind of ruin this release? It's kind of making you like not want to buy this because like more are coming in the future. So unless they just anticipated the backlash and like they had to soften it, but like it just means nothing, right? Because if it's another from the vault type drop, like I'm not getting that one either. So this is irrelevant to me.
Please no, I hate that.
But
foiling.
if it's like, it could be like, oh, if you win, you know, the next pre-release event or something, it comes in your reward boosters or whatever, but you know, that's hard to get. Or it could be like some challenger deck or something, F&M. Right? It's like super easy, right? Like we don't know what it is, right? So it's
what
just
if it's
a weird thing.
That's very true.
What if it's honestly Commander Legends? Like it gets reprinted there. I don't know. I mean, that's one of the things I think.
My guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it is either Commander Legends or something similar to that, like a Masters style set of some kind. If there's like another one, in that same vein as Commander Legends. So that was my first guess. Although, as Richard said, the way they worded it, maybe, oh man, I don't even want to imagine the freak out if this is what it is, but maybe it's the allied Fetchlands printed in the same way as a Secret Lair drop for every local game store gets 10 of them. Like,
I mean, it's good. You have to complete the set, Seth. Like, come on. You can't have unfinished cycles.
Oh boy, people would freak out. Like if they freaked out this much, oh, I couldn't imagine if they announced it a second time.
We're going to do it again. I actually would like to say one thing about these though. Like I know there's a lot of like, you know, people have had some criticisms about these fetches getting announced and printed, but I do want to say it is pretty cool like how each artwork represents a plane in Magic. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that's really cool. That is one thing I just wanted to point out. Like, what is it? Arid Mesa's Amonkhet, like Marsh Flats' Laurelwyn. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really cool. I did like the idea behind it. So that kind of ties back to like, does it feel Secret Lair-ish when it comes to the art style? I would say that's pretty cool.
And they did get really good artists. Like, if you just look at the names of the artists, it's a lot of the most popular artists in Magic, like John Avon, Seb's on there. So I feel like they did make good choices with the art, and that is kind of the gimmick. And I think if you go back to the initial announcement of Secret Lairs, one of the things they said is Secret Lairs, they never said like, oh, these are going to be $30 to $50 and you get 5 cards, but they specifically said like, it's going to let us try different things with pricing and distribution. Like we can do artwork, do experimental things here and try some different stuff. So I think maybe part of the problem is my guess is this was the plan for Secret Lairs all along, and that there will be other $100 Secret Lair drops, $200, $500 Secret Lair drops at different price points. But because all of them so far had been in that $30 to $50 range, I think everyone just assumed that that's what Secret Lair was, when really Wizards, that's just how it happened to roll out. And that might be what most of the Secret Lairs are, but I would not be surprised if we see more expensive ones in the future as well. And it's kind of unfortunate that just every single one was in that same price range for the first, 15 drops or something, to make everyone assume that that's what it was and kind of gloss over that Wizards said, oh, we're going to be trying a bunch of different stuff in terms of like pricing and whatnot.
I mean, we're going down a slippery slope. What's next? Like Secret Lair, expensive modern staples, like Secret Lair, non-reserved list legacy cards. Like they're starting to get really specific and into kind of the cards Magic players want. But as an aside, have you guys seen like the YouTube videos where like someone like rolls up to McDonald's and like tries to buy and eat one of every item on the menu? I am curious if I were to say I want to buy every single Magic the Gathering physical product released in a year, how much that would cost me. As I buy like every single Secret Lair drop, as I buy every single supplemental product, as I buy every expansion booster box, like how much money does the average Magic player have? Like, what is your budget for like an annual expenditure? Because it's starting to add up, right? I just bought all the Secret Lairs. It's already a lot of money.
Yeah, that is a good point. And it probably depends on how you calculate. Like, are you buying one booster box of a set? Are you buying a case? Like, some of that stuff would play into it, but it's certainly a huge and increasing amount of money, thanks primarily to Secret Lairs. But we also know we're getting 9 Commander decks this year. We're getting the Commander Masters set, the Commander Legends thing. Like, there's a lot of products coming out right now. And I wonder, and I mean, I guess this is also taking place in the context of the coronavirus. Really, I don't want to make the whole podcast talking about sad stuff, but this is the time when people are like struggling with, how do I pay my rent? Like, I can't go into my job. My kids can't go to school and get their like free lunch, or I got to find someone to take care of my kids so I can go to work. Maybe this isn't the time when people are going to have $200 to spend on Fetchlands. And I think that that's something that also played into the announcement to some extent. I don't think it's the primary thing, but I think just like general economic anxiety because of everything that's going on in the world kind of has people on edge and made it really easy to kind of snap at the Fetchland Secret Lair thing. I
mean, yeah, it's like Richard had mentioned, if you buy every single Secret Lair and whatnot, I think that that is very taxing. I've been very selective of which ones I buy, believe it or not. I love promos, but I don't like buying every one of them. And right now, with where everyone is financially, that is definitely going to factor into whether or not, like am I going to buy these fetches for $200? Am I even going to buy fetches anyways? Because fetches right now are so expensive.
Yeah, I think that is a legitimate question, and I don't know the answer. Like, it is a weird time in Magic and just a weird time in the world. And I don't know if people are gonna, well, I guess this segues to the other product that was announced. Signature Spellbook Chandra. We only got a couple of cards from it. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, Past in Flames. The other ones will be revealed. This is a much cheaper product. This is, does anyone remember what Jace sold for? $20? $30. Okay. So $30. But is even that something that, I don't know, if you're choosing between like paying your rent and buying Magic cards, most people are probably going to choose to pay their rent. It's just such a weird time. So what do you think about Spellbook Chandra, the other product that was announced this week?
Well, Chandra Torch of Defiance is like what, $25 right now. So like for $5 more, I can have 3 other sweet cards. I'd probably pick this up.
Yeah, depends how much you need Chandra Torch of Defiance, right? If you're waiting for a new, it's a special frame. So it's the same art as before, but the frame is different and there's like a little fire effect. So I think it actually looks pretty cool. But like, do you need Chandras? Yes, buy the product. If you don't, then no. I guess it depends what the other cards are. But I'm going to assume Chandra is the most expensive card in this set.
Oh yeah, Chandra's definitely going to be the most expensive card. And I mean, believe it or not, I do need Chandras. I got rid of all of mine when they sold for like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this is probably going to be a big deal just because of Chandra. The first two signature spellbooks we got was Jace Beleren, which not anywhere near as expensive as Chandra, has been reprinted a bunch of times. Gideon Jura also not especially played anywhere or very expensive because it's been reprinted multiple times. So just the fact that it's being led by a, $22 Planeswalker is a pretty big deal. And Past in Flames is a legit card too. It's been reprinted a couple times, but that's another like $7. So maybe we've already gotten all the high value stuff from the set. What else do you think? We have 6 more cards to go. What else fits with the Chandra motif? Any predictions?
This is something that I just didn't know was hard to find, but it's from Origins. It's the 5-mana Chandra card where you target a creature and then it deals its damage equal to its power or whatever to everybody at the table and creatures. It's a 5-mana like that card should be in there because I think that card is oddly difficult to find, even though it's not necessarily insanely expensive. Is it Chandra's Outburst? No, that's not it.
I think that is, I think Outburst is like the removal spell. Is it like Fire Servant or something? I can't remember. I kind of know what you're talking about.
It's a sorcery spell. I just can't remember the name, but I think that should be in there because I think that card, if I'm playing like a red EDH creature heavy deck, I definitely want it.
Maybe Cathartic Reunion would be in here.
Oh, that would be a good one. I was thinking, speaking of Origins, Pyromancer's Goggles maybe would be another good one. The legendary artifact that copies the spell. That could be another good inclusion. And then I'm guessing there's probably going to be some cheaper stuff. Maybe like Red Elemental Blast or something like that would fit in. Like something along those lines.
Would Bolt be crazy? I mean, we have Brainstorm, right? We have some pretty signature spells in there, like when you think of the color. So like, is Lightning Bolt a card they can also throw? Because if they do, then this spellbook becomes ridiculously valued, right?
Is Lightning Bolt an expensive card?
They won't.
Well, I mean, you're telling me you wouldn't want a Lightning Bolt, right, with Chandra on it? I
would, right? But like, is it does the price matter? Like, is it expensive that they're like, oh no, we're not going to put it in here? Or is like Lightning Bolt actually like a 50-cent card and no one cares?
I mean, it's like $3 or something like that. I think like the normal cheapest version is like $3. Although at the same time, like if you look at the old signature spellbooks, I think like the Jace counter spell is like $3 or $4 when you can get a cheap counter spell for 50 cents or something.
Yeah. And then like, Gideon comes with Path and, and whatnot. So
what if they give you Shock?
I would be
Lightning
disrespected.
Strike. How about Lightning Strike?
That's a personal attack on me. If they're like, here, have a Shock. What?
You gotta have something that's standard legal, probably.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Just give me a mountain.
I mean, it seems like it's probably going to be worth it just because of Chandra, as Grim said. Like, a $30 product that has a $22 card, it's probably not only going to be worth it, but it hopefully will bring down prices. Like, that was one of the big complaints about Fetchlands is this isn't going to drop prices. This seems like a product that is going to give you some cheap options to pick up. So hopefully that is at least one positive out of it. Because even if you look at, like the old signature spellbooks, a lot of those cards are cheap. The Path is like $6. Rest in Peace is $5. Worship is like 70 cents. So you get some pretty decent cards at a really cheap price.
Yeah. That's why I've been a huge fan of these. Like, I was a fan of these spell books, but I don't know. I guess they kind of halted that. We'd only gotten like 2, right? Yeah, Gideon and Jace.
I think we've been getting 1 a year. I think for the last like 2 years.
What's the other? Pretty sure. Oh, that okay, 1 a year for the last 2 years. Like, hold on, have we had more than Gideon and Jace? I don't think so. No, right?
just those so far. Just Gideon, Jace, and now Chandra. Although, didn't they say also that there's like a commander spellbook that's happening? I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's something similar where it's like 5 commander cards or 6 commander cards in a cheap box set. So I know that they promised that was coming this year. I don't remember if it was actually called a spellbook or something else, though.
At what point are they just like
from the vault, Secret Lair?
Just pretty much just Secret Lair, also, or Secret Lair is like a spellbook.
I mean, Wizards is all about selling people singles right now. Like that seems to be the theme of 2020 is to just like get as close as you possibly can to selling singles.
I mean, Real Estate spellbook just got announced. And like,
all right. Any other thoughts on our new upcoming products before we talk a little bit about more meta stuff in the Magic world? All right. So the other big news of this week, is we got more cancellations. So we talked a little bit last week about some SCGs, some upcoming in the next couple week GPs being canceled. But then later in the week, we got an announcement that the Mythic Invitational that was, I believe, the end of April was canceled. The Pro Tour, or Players Tour Finals, which was April or May, was canceled. So we got all of the big upcoming Magic events are basically gone at this point until, I don't know when the next one is, like maybe June or July, hasn't been actually canceled yet. What do you think of these cancellations? And secondarily, any idea when we get back to playing Magic? Like at this point, are you expecting Vegas to be canceled? Are you expecting Pro Tours, in invitationals through the summer to be canceled? Like how long do you think this is going to go on?
I mean, I could see this going on for like 3 months, maybe even more. Who knows, right? Like, I mean, it depends on vaccines and stuff like that. Who knows, right? So I think a lot of it is going to come down to just online. I think they have to find an alternative to make it so that there are GPs and ways to get mythic points or whatever and get it all online.
The hard part is, despite calls for being able to run actual tournaments on Arena, that's still not something that exists at this point. So we don't actually have good tournament software for running events like that on Arena. Or Magic Online does do better, but then it's Magic Online and some people aren't, fans of that. So can they do that? Like, so far, every big Arena tournament has been in person, where you can make sure no one's cheating, you can get around bugs and internet problems in certain ways. Can you run a Mythic Championship where you're just like, hey, everyone chill at your house and log on to Arena? Like, is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't think they would do something like that. Like, what they could do is bring back the MPL or something where they have like a bunch of pros streaming together or something to have some kind of spectacle going on. But like an actual high stakes tournament, you can't, right? Because people could cheat. What if I have LSV playing for me and I'm not LSV, right? Like, you know, like you could do all kinds of things like that. So I don't expect kind of like the marquee Magic tournaments to go there, but you might have like some Twitch Rivals type event or something like that to kind of fill the void. But like, I don't know, right? Like, people are busy, right? Like, like Wizards employees can't go to work if they're, I don't know if they're going to work still or not, but, they may not be going to work. Like, they don't have time to do this, right? Or it's hard to kind of schedule all of this at last minute and try to get it out in like 2 weeks. So I don't know that anything is happening. I think they're just pushing back all the events and then just waiting to see, because this is not a problem unique to Magic, right? Like, movie theaters are going bankrupt, right? People can't pay their rent, right? Like, there's no food on the shelves anywhere. Like, there are other problems the world is trying to deal with at the moment. So I think they're just pushing Magic off, and then we'll see what happens. But like, if the NBA is canceled, right? Like, you better be sure that Magic is also canceled, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, especially, I mean, you got, for big tournaments, you got people coming from all over the world. That seems like the exact type of thing that we're trying to avoid with social distancing, is just like those big gatherings with people from all over, like some of the highest risk events right now. So it makes sense that it's canceled. How big of an impact does this have on Magic long term, do you think? That's one of the things that we've been talking about a little bit on Twitter today is, I mean, the whole stock market is having issues, but Hasbro stock is down literally 50% in the last month, which is even more than the market as a whole. Is there any concern that this is something Magic doesn't easily recover from? Like, could this be, someone said it's going to take a generation for Magic to like recover from this. And to me, that felt a little over the top, but like, is there long-term concerns here with local game stores going out of business? Margins are already tight. You don't really have the ability to run pre-releases or have people come in for FNMs. Like, could this blow up the whole paper Magic system?
Yeah. I mean, I think LGSs, like, so every day we hear about LGSs like barely holding on. So not having anyone come to your store for 2 months is probably a nail in the coffin for those kind of stores, right? Like, the big stores will survive and go on, but the little stores are probably gone, and they're probably gone for good, right? Like, it's not like when this blows over, they just reopen the store, right? No, like we have no more money. We have nothing. It's closed. It's done, right? You have to wait for someone else to come and start a new business. So I think there will be lasting effects to this, just like we're going to see lasting effects to the movie industry and things like that. I wonder if Wizards uses this opportunity to double down on Arena and effectively put another nail in the coffin for Paper Magic, because, you know, how is Ikoria sales going to be? Are people going to go pre-release? Are you going to buy any cards knowing that you can't play Paper Magic for the next X months, right? Or unknown if you can play Paper Magic for the X months. So it's going to have a big impact on the upcoming products. And if the parent company Hasbro is not doing well, like that's not good for Magic either. So I expect there to be definitely repercussions, but I don't know about a decade's worth, but there will be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, are we going to see card prices drop? I think that's another really interesting conversation. Like, do you buy paper Magic cards right now, knowing that you can't really use them outside of maybe playing with your roommates or family at the kitchen table type of thing? Like, do you even spend money on that? Can you spend money on that? Are you selling your Magic collection to pay for your rent because you can't go to work right now? Like, there's so many ramifications to this, and I think it's definitely, I don't know the answer to it, but I think it's a very real and interesting topic.
I mean, can you really sell your collection right now? Like, who's buying collections and all this stuff right now, right? So it all kind of just circles around and goes back into each other.
Like, in times of need, people cut kind of the luxuries and excess, right? And Magic, by definition, is one of those, right? Like, it's entertainment. It's super expensive. You can barely afford it when like things are going well. So when things are not going well, you know, that's the first thing to go as you focus on daycare or, you know, rent or food and stuff like that. So yeah. And
I think
play Arena, it's free,
Magic?
right? Like, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if you need your entertainment, there are like other free sources, right? Like a lot of games and stuff are offering things for free or for cheaper because they know everyone is staying in, which Wizards hasn't done yet for Arena, but I expect them to do eventually, and I hope it's generous. But
Vintage Cube, they need to bring Vintage Cube back to Magic Online for the extent of this.
Yeah, or just bringing back like ranked drafts or something. I don't know, right? Like there's things they can do, or they can bring Brawl back for free or something, right? Just to keep everyone who's sitting at home kind of happy, and it costs them basically nothing. But a lot of other games are doing that. So, or, you know, you could just start watching Netflix, or I don't know, my phone has unlimited data now from my carrier. Like I can watch YouTube on the go, but I'm not even on the go, so it makes no sense. But I don't know. There's other ways to get cheaper entertainment in this kind of emergency mode. So that's why I expect Magic to be the first to go. Like, that's why I'm curious what will happen to Secret Lair. Secret Lair is actually just like extra premium, extra money. Will people be buying it during this time?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I guess I'm sure everyone, even outside of Magic, is just hoping that this is something that, you know, we can deal with and get through as quickly as possible. But it still seems like we're at a point where stuff is probably, even just day by day, stuff is getting worse before it gets better. So it's hard to speak with any confidence about anything as far as that's concerned at this point. But I imagine not too many people are going out to play F&M.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, in some places, the stores might even be closed. Like, I don't know if you can. Like, a lot of places, gatherings of more than 50 people are banned, and that probably doesn't hit every LGS for the most part, but I don't even know if people will be going out to play Magic.
Yeah,
So
it depends where you live. Like,
crazy time.
Where I live, if I'm driving to the grocery store, there are so many people on the street acting like nothing's happening. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, we're screwed, right? Like, we are 100% screwed because people are like, yeah, I'm healthy, I'll just walk around, right? And I'm like, you know, did you really need to like go to the bar and have a drink? Like, was that really necessary, right? So yeah, it depends what part you're in. Like, I think some regions take it more seriously, because if you see other people walking around, you're like, oh, it's probably fine. But if you go outside and no one is around, you're like, I should probably get indoors. Like, no one is outside. So I think kind of the herd mentality kind of affects like the behavior of like where you are. But there's a lot of people on the street still here.
My LGS is closed.
And I mean, I know, I'm not sure if it's like that in California or not, but I know in New York now they're closing all restaurants, eat-in restaurants, movie theaters, all that kind of stuff. So maybe speaking of the herd mentality thing, maybe if there's just, you can't go to the bar, you can't go to a restaurant, maybe that will force people to some extent to stay home, because where are you going to go?
Yeah. Well, one cool post about all this Corona stuff is like, I saw someone post on the Magic subreddit, their setup for playing physical Magic over Skype. And they basically made a light box, which is a box people use to like take professional photos of like products. And it's like a cardboard box. They cut a little hole on top for you to put your camera on. So like as a mini tripod, and then another hole to put a lamp through so it lights up the whole box. And then in the box they have their play mat. And that way you can play Magic with someone over Skype or Discord or whatever. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool innovation, and hopefully we see more like that. There's got to be some ways you can get together, quote unquote, with your friends to have an EDH game without physically, going out to a local game store or something to get by. So I think it's a really cool idea, and maybe we'll see more of that as a way to stay involved with the game, stay connected, without, physically being connected.
Yeah, and I wonder if this revives Magic Online some more. Like, Magic Online got a surge with Pioneer, but now if you want to play Modern and are desperate to play Modern, like, there's only one choice, Magic Online. So I wonder if we get an influx, or like people play Commander on Magic Online, which historically has been super unpopular. So I wonder if there's an influx.
It definitely doesn't seem like a bad thing for Arena or Magic Online. If anything, it seems like it probably hurts paper Magic and probably is beneficial for both Magic Online and in Arena, because if you're going to be stuck home, you're going to want something to do. That's the other thing I was wondering about Hasbro, is maybe this isn't as bad for them as it looks, because the other thing that you'll do at home is like play board games and stuff. Like, what else are you going to do? So maybe everyone buys Monopoly because their kids are out of school for a month, and
I don't know about
and you got to have something to do.
That counters the 50% drop in stock price. That's a lot. Imagine you woke up tomorrow
Monopoly.
And like half of your belongings are gone, and you're like, what? Right? Like, that's a lot.
I mean, like, if we're talking paper Magic, I think Skype and stuff like that is pretty much like how I would be playing EDH. It sounds weird, but like, honestly, like, that's the only way without, like, if you want to use your paper cards, I think Skype, Zoom, or whatever, Discord video call.
So
like,
real
that's how I
talk,
would do it.
It's 2020.
Yeah.
Are people still using Skype?
I don't know.
Is it just
but,
us
like,
old
they will
timers?
now.
We're like, yeah, I'll just fire up my Skype. Or like, do kids even know what this is? Like, is this a thing, or is this just
Back
us
in
old
my
people
day.
showing our age?
All right, let's move on and answer some fish mail and talk about happier things, I think, than cancellations and whatnot. Richard, fish mail us.
Oh, I got spoilers for you, Seth. Fishmail is not happy this week. If you have questions, send them to @MTG Goldfish with the hashtag MTG Fishmail, and we'll get to your questions on air. So like I alluded to, there's a lot of fish mail on Fetchlands, which I think we talked about, but people are generally not happy about them. But one of the things, a common theme, is the secondary market. So True Cross 77, how is it possible for Wizards to sell 5 pieces of cardboard for $150 and claim they don't acknowledge the secondary market? I feel like 2020 is nothing but Wizards treating Commander players as their collective piggy bank to take all their money. How do you feel about premium products kind of pushed out and kind of focusing on Commander players as a way to kind of take advantage of the surge in popularity of Commander?
It's the year of Commander. We just didn't realize that meant taking as much money as possible from Commander players. But no, I think this came up a lot. People keep saying Wizards doesn't acknowledge the secondary market. I think there's a big misconception there. The secondary market is the driving force of Wizards business. When they make products, they are considering the secondary market. I believe they have economists and statisticians on staff whose job is to analyze the secondary market. So when they say they don't acknowledge the secondary market, that just means they don't talk about it publicly because of gambling laws. Like, that's a big thing. For Magic to work and not be gambling, Wizards has to be selling us a booster pack with 15 cards for $4 or whatever. If they start marketing it as I'm selling you a chance to open a $50 card. Then all of a sudden, it's very clearly gambling. The only way that sports cards and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Have managed to skirt by gambling laws is by that model. Like, I'm selling you 15 cards for that price. That's what you're getting. You always get that. If the secondary market does crazy things with the prices, we can't control that. So that's how they don't acknowledge it. I do think, as we talked about earlier, there is a concern that they're just printing so many products, especially at a time when people are already hurting financially. I don't know how that's going to go over, but I think people do need to realize that the secondary market is the basis of Wizards business. They just don't talk about it publicly.
All right. Wolfie Star 123. How would you suggest solving the problem between casual and competitive EDH at a paid LGS event? There sometimes can be a disparity between very competitive and new/casual players being in the same pod.
That has been something I've been trying to figure out also. How do you make it so that you can differentiate that? And I think one of the things is like Channel Fireball and like whatnot, all of them, they recently released a scale, right? Like the 0 to whatever 10 scale. I think that's a step in the right direction. You could try to do something like that. Like, does my deck have an infinite combo? Okay, so it's a 5, I guess, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I like the idea of not rewarding the winner. The idea, like, say everyone gets a ticket to when they come in, and then at the end of the match, you can award your ticket to anyone you want. So you could either just all keep your ticket, or you could all give it to the winner, or if someone does something really cool during the game, you can give it to them, and kind of just not incentivize winning if that's not the goal. Like, if it's not competitive EDH, you shouldn't incentivize someone coming in with their 10 deck, claiming it's a 3, rolling over everyone, taking all the prizes and going home. Like, you don't want that to happen. So I think just not incentivizing winning and letting the players in the pod vote for who gets the prize.
But I think that that makes a lot of sense to me. I like that idea as well. I mean, I think trying to grade your deck on a number scale is fine. I just remember my experience at Vegas was it's a lot harder than it looks. Like, yeah. It's so subjective that if everyone sits down and says my deck's a 5, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's deck is going to be equally powered. It's just really hard to grade your decks that way, I think.
Yeah, one thing playing random pickup games at Vegas taught me is just bring a lot of decks of different power levels. So, like, as you sit down and everyone wants to play competitively with high-powered decks, you can bring that out. If everyone's just playing their precons, then you have a janky deck to pull out. So if you just have kind of multiple decks at different power ranges, you're always kind of covered for whatever the table wants.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I did for Vegas. I brought a way different scale of power, like when it comes to like the 3 decks I brought. Like, one was like pretty much worse than a starter deck. and somehow I built a deck that was worse than a starter deck.
Okay, Maze Hughes dies. Hello crew, I listen on iTunes, and whenever I don't have an active episode playing, it defaults to playing your inaugural episode and makes me question. Have you ever listened to your old episodes and realized how far the podcast has come?
I haven't.
I haven't. I wonder what it sounds like. I kind of
want to.
I mean, I randomly watch our old videos sometimes, so if you look hard enough, you can find me doing gameplay video on the channel. You can find an imposter Seth. Like, if you ever watch Seth's like first video, it sounds nothing like Seth, and you're like, who is this guy? And like, was this really our video? I'm like so confused. So maybe we should do that for the podcast. It'd be actually hilarious.
I think we did it once for like episode 100 or episode something. We did some clips from an old episode, but it's been a long time. It would be cool to revisit again.
All right, hold on. I gotta skip all these Fetchland questions. Hold on. There's a lot. They're all kind of the same. People are not happy. The Bryce is right. Do recent price increases suggest people anticipate an incoming Splinter Twin unbanned? Hashtag the new Stoneforge Mystic.
I mean, yeah, I think that Splinter Twin is probably going to be the next card, kind of like Stoneforge was, kind of like Bloodbraid was, that people are apparently going to buy out because they're assuming it'll get it unbanned eventually. This was kind of the first time that happened with Splinter Twin, but I would be surprised if it was the last.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Splinter Twin's that big of a deal when you think about what's going on in Modern.
Oh, I've actually shifted back to Splinter Twin should not be unbanned because of Mystic Sanctuary. You cannot empower like 2-color blue decks. They're already too strong. I don't care about your stupid infinite combo. Just don't play Mystic Sanctuary. Thank you.
Shadow of Doubt, then. Look at that. They can't fetch for it.
I need 2 mana. I gotta hold up 2 mana to counter their Fetchland activation the entire game.
But you draw a card. Totally
doable.
I play that card, 4 of those in the main deck of my Modern deck. So
I Blood Moon mono blue decks. I'm just keeping Blood Moon in here, right? It's like my best answer to because it actually keeps them off Cryptic Command too, right? Because if they draw fetches, they can't actually Cryptic. So I'm like, this Blood Moon is so counterintuitive, but okay. All right, last question. MTG Warden. Hey Seth, you played Manaless Dredge this week, but Once Upon a Time got banned, as we all know. Do you think there's any replacement for it in the deck to keep the meme alive?
There's very good news here, which is Once Upon a Time, I actually think it's really bad in that deck. Let me talk very briefly about Once Upon a Time Manaless Dredge. It's the card so for the deck to work, you need a Dredger in your opening hand. That's the whole gimmick. And what Once Upon a Time does is it tricks you into thinking you can keep a hand with Once Upon a Time and it will find you a Dredger. But then when you cast it, you get a bunch of Vengevines and Ornithopters and you don't hit a Dredger and then you concede. So I actually honestly think even if it wasn't banned, you should be cutting it from the deck. But yes, cut it, replace it with more Dredge cards. The rest of the Golgari Thugs are the first 2 to add. And then, I don't know, whatever else dredges the highest in Modern. There's probably something better than Life on the Loam, but yes, replace it with Dredge cards. And I think the deck actually is better that way, even if Once Upon a Time was legal.
All right. That's all our fish mail this week. Thank you to everyone who sent them in. If you have questions, send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail, and we'll get to your questions on air.
And that, I believe, brings us to the end of episode 268 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. So, Richard and Crip, thanks for hanging out. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Card Conduit for supporting the show. And we will be back next week to talk about whatever goes down in the world of Magic. Maybe some spoilers, fingers crossed. We know Ikoria spoilers are starting next week. I don't know if it'll be Monday or not, but it's coming soon. So, until then, everyone, stay safe, have a wonderful week, and yeah, this is a crew signing out.